So these are some drills for retreating, essentially how to get out of the way when you're retreating. It's really easy when you're fighting to always retreat straight backwards and just have a very linear fighting style. When you're retreating backwards, and everybody does it and everybody will do it, the bad side is the other person can generally run forward faster than you can run backwards. So if that's what he's trying to do, he can overwhelm you, and you are generally less powerful going backwards. So ideally, we want to get offline as we're going backwards. So these are a couple things that we use off of this. So can you see my feet? So. Come forward, backward?
Back a little bit more. Yeah, there you go.
Or you can tilt it down.
I guess I can do that if I would have thought about it.
Okay, so if I'm facing it, I'm going to do this out of the core material comes out of what we call like a harada drill, where I'm stepping. If this is my even, it's not a box that I'm stepping around. I'm stepping farther than that. Okay, so again, taking me offline. The problem, of course, is I don't fight like this. And so our fighting stance is going to be asymmetric as we start here. And so when I start, I'm going to step offline. So again, I'm thinking retreating. I'm using that same concept of that harada step. I step back and offline. And both of these, if this is the line, I step back either straight back with the first step and then back on the angle on the second, or I go 1, 2, and now I'm reoriented to where that person was before. So 1, 2 as I come back off, or I step straight back this way with the first step and then off at the angle on the second one. Obviously going off angle on both takes you further off the angle. So that's going off to my strong side on this one. And then the other way, if we're this way, is I can step either lateral or to the rear, and then I step back here. So 1, 2. But generally, if I'm trying to retreat because I have aggressive forward opponent, I can exaggerate that to make a bigger step. And you'll adjust this kind of as necessary. So if we looked at either one of those, 1, 2, come back, 1, 2. Get right, go to the right, here, go to the left. Again, it's not symmetric because my base stance isn't symmetric. Okay, so that's it in the air. So how do we practice that linearly with a person? So if Scott is facing me, we're going to mimic this as we're going 1 and 2. 1 and 2. And then somewhere in here, he's going to do a straight thrust to me, and I'm going to get offline using one of those 2 footwork patterns. Okay, so 1, 2, he picks when he's going to go, 2, and I get offline. What I do with this stick doesn't matter. The whole point is I'm just practicing getting offline. 1, 2. Okay. So again, you're just using both footworks. Do this until you are doing this rapidly, and you can do it. We use an 80% threshold. If you can do this 80% of the time successfully, increase speed and increase the rapidity of the drill. So if we were to make that a little faster, and I'm going to turn sideways to it so that you can see it from the side as well. So this is, again, static initially here. So the idea, the thrust is only there to give you something that is easily avoidable off of either line. The next step would be, we do the same drill, but now there's going to be movement. So instead of standing here in front of us statically, 1, 2, and then he goes, right? And we've done that, we're successful, now we move to motion. So now he's going to advance, and I'm going to forward. And when he goes, he is going to do one of the 2 pieces. So okay? And again, so and then we want to increase pressure. And we can do this back and forth. And so we'll now do back and forth for what we did before. So you go, I go, okay? Again, it doesn't have to be every two. That's a simplification. Move back and forth, get used to being able to cover yourself and then move out of the way on the retreat. Again, the thrust is only as a tell or a trigger to tell you when you should go. You should also be able to do this against a 1 or 2 line, but there are sort of better answers. And we're going to start doing a contrada off of this. So same kind of drill. 1, 2, 1, 2, contrada, using that retreating footwork. And again, with that same idea. So 2 shuffle footwork here until I get my contrada line, and I'm using that retreating footwork. I can go both times on this one against the 1. I was going offline over here. I'm now going to go against the 2. 1, 2, 1, retreat, and I come back on that one. Again, using the contrada line is kind of an ideal answer. It's not the only answer. There's no reason that I couldn't do this drill 1, 2, right, with contact, that's my number 3, as I come back, hitting on that retreating line, as opposed, it's just the contrada would be a better answer. Anyway, so all you do is just rep a bunch of that. You should get to the point where instead of a lot of, go ahead, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, contrada, hit, I should be able to, ideally, I never want him to get past 2, right? He goes fast under pressure, boom, right? That I get off that line, and I want to break that rhythm after only 2 beats. That's the ideal off of there. And then you should turn it into more of a kind of sparring-like format where it's less predictable than this very sort of cadenced drill. But again, all we did in here was 1, 2 off that footwork, and 1, 2. So that's it. How a drill on retreating footwork.
Good.
Try to keep yourself that long distance. You're not back, really think about that retreat and that turn off.
Really think about it, but don't think about it. Yeah.
Keep your mind blank, do it right.
There you go.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, you connect to yourself, kind of.